Hey guys, how is everybody doing this evening? Um, we're live, and you're going to get us live and Skype. It's live, it's not Memorex, and you're going to get us exactly the way that we are going to appear, blemishes and all, imperfect streams and all. But we're going to work through these technical difficulties as a group. I've got with me to my right here on the screen. I've got Walter, who is from Demons of Rock, used to be Kissin' Time, and below us here on the screen, we've got a very blurry John B Goode,
Uh,
but but I told him on the thing we're more concerned with hearing you than seeing you. Not that you're not a nice looking man, Mr. John, but we just want to be able to hear you. We want to hear what you guys have to say about this album. And so we're here to talk about Peter Criss's Let Me Rock You. I see we've got a lot of people on the stream. I see a bunch of familiar names. I see Emily Graziano, Sublime 130, Jay Reed, Georgie Halick. Says it's their first time. Welcome, Jay Rutker. We got Paul Bertolino, Kiss posters, and so we're gonna try. I'm gonna try to keep an eye on the stream while these guys are talking. They cannot see the stream. They cannot see the comments and the chat and stuff like that. So if something comes in, I'll forward it to them. But what we're basically going to do is we're just going to try, since it's the three of us and we still want to keep this at about an hour, we're going to try to run through Let Me Rock You from Peter Criss. But I wanted to give these guys an opportunity before we get to you guys at the panel, on the panel, and get to the songs and get to the album. I wanted these guys, since they wanted to be on this panel and in this video, to talk about the Peter Criss Let Me Rock You album and their experiences with it and their thoughts without getting into the songs about it. So, Walter, we'll go ahead and start with you, okay?
okay. Well, it was, of course, 1982 when this album came out, and I had no idea the record was actually coming out. I remember I was flipping through. My favorite thing was to go to the used record stores, and I was flipping through the new releases one day, and I saw it, and I picked it up, and I liked it. I've always been a Peter Criss fan. He's always been my favorite member of Kiss. So, maybe I drink a little bit of the green Kool-Aid. But I love Peter's solo albums. I love all his solo work. This album in particular, a lot of things I know you're going to touch on later. I found very interesting about this record and how it came out around the same time as the time Kiss was working through the Elder and doing Creatures and all that, and the similarities. And some of the great players on this album, Steve Stevens from Billy Idol, Steve Lukather. I think it's a good album when it came out, and I finally heard it. I noticed that it was a little more rockin', which was cool. But I still kind of lean a little more toward Out of Control, but we'll talk about all that later. So
Okay.
yeah, I had a chance to get this when it came out, and I enjoyed it.
All right. Now, John, what about you?
well, this came out when I must have been only old, right? And so I didn't know it was, I was just a kid when it came out. Both on CD when it came out in '98. 3 years ago, I moved to a different, somehow a box of my CD moved Out of Control and Let Me Rock You are lost. Can't find them anywhere. So they must have got lost and moved, which is unfortunate because if you look at some of the prices online, they're a little bit high. So, but listening to the album, I think it's just a step above um, Out of Control. I like Out of Control. Let Me Rock You, I think, is a little bit better. They brought in some outside musicians, like you mentioned, Steve Stevens from Billy Idol. I think he joined Billy Idol after the album. But yeah, outside musicians and Russ Ballard. Yeah, Russ Ballard, all wrote at least 2 songs from there. I like it. I like the album. It's really feel good album. And I'm glad that I finally got it back in 1988. Tried it again.
Yeah, we were talking off camera, and I see some people mentioning in the chat. We know that John's audio is not the greatest. He is coming in and out, but and hopefully you guys can bear with it, because I really want John to be on this, because he doesn't have the greatest internet connection right now, and I just hope that you guys can bear with that, because I really want to get thoughts from him concerning this Peter, and concerning this album. One thing that they did mention, we were talking about it a little bit before the panel started, is that I'd never heard this album. I listened to it for the first time. I got a little bit of a head start. I've been trying to give myself a little bit of head start when it comes to Peter's and Ace's albums that I've not heard in a long time, or at all. And I didn't realize a lot of things about this album, and I looked it up while I was listening to it, that it was originally released in 1982, but it didn't get released in the States, like they said, until 16 years later in 1998, around the reunion. It was produced by Vinnie Poncia, which is the same person that produced his 78 solo album. Vinnie Cusano, who went on to become Vinnie Vincent, and Adam Mitchell, who co-wrote a lot of tracks on Creatures of the Night with Bryan Adams. They co-wrote the song Tears, and Feel Like Heaven was a Gene Simmons song that was given to Peter. It was originally written for the Elder, but they changed directions, and that I didn't realize that Jealous Guy was a Lennon cover. And Peter actually helped co-pen 2 songs on the album. Move On Over, he co-penned with Vinnie Poncia. And Bad Boys, he co-penned with John Robarge. And like they said, First Day in the Rain has Steve Stevens playing lead guitar on it, and it was pre-Billy Idol. So I mean, and without getting too much into the album, we're getting into the tracks. I actually really enjoyed this album. I kind of grouped when I listen to albums like this, I kind of group my songs together into 3 categories: top, middle, and bottom. And so I actually have 5 tops on this, 2 middles, and 3 bottoms. There's really only one song that the very first time I heard it, I went, "Oh my God, that is bad." I mean, to me, it was bad. And reading the comments, a lot of people, somebody said something about it's the soundtrack to every 80s movie out there. It does sound very 80s. But actually, I probably prefer this one a little bit over Out of Control. Me personally. Just overall, I would still take his 78 solo album. But if I had to rank right now, and we'll get into individual songs, but I had to rank the 3 Peter albums I've listened to so far, it would probably be his 78 solo, this one, and then nipping on its heels would be Out of Control. But so I was actually very impressed with this album. I think the production was better. Vinny is a solid producer, and it was probably very comforting for Peter to go back to a producer he had worked with twice, on his album, and a little bit on dynasty. So let's talk about you guys. Let's talk about the panel, and we have let's see, total of 29 on this panel, which is good. Me, John, and Walter, and then from YouTube, Jay Reed, Toy Bonnie Guy, Michael Avant, Juan Manuel Lopez, Jeremy Kimona, Carolina Hard Rock, Joel Pegg, Georgie Halick, Sublime 130, Super Kiss 1200, Stephen Joens, Rick R, Emily Graziano, Marty White, and then from Twitter, Darren Helliwell, Tom Dust, Tony Rod, Where's Drago, David King, Bill Sharp, getting in by the skin of his teeth, Sam Loomis. From Facebook, Paul Bertolino, Cameron Hope, Matt Ucci, Richard Buffett, and from Instagram, AJ Zetro, 1975. So that is our panel, and we have 10 tracks, and you guys know the deal. We're going to talk about we'll do our prediction for each song, and then we'll talk about what song actually won that position. So we're starting with track 10. So we'll go from me to Walter to John. And John, if I miss what you say, I may ask you to repeat yourself. Okay. All right. So what is predictions for number 10?
I predicted the panel would pick First Day in the Rain.
Okay.
I'm copying off of Walter. I also picked that the panel would pick First Day in the Rain.
Okay. I predicted that the panel was going to choose Destiny as number 10. And I didn't know what the panel was going to do because I've never talked to anybody about this album before this. So I was just I think some of my feelings of its tracks bled over into my predictions. So I predicted Destiny for number 10. For number 10, the panel actually chose, with 110 points, they chose First Day in the Rain. So you guys, nobody picked First Day in the Rain as their favorite song. People were dogging this song. And some people loved it because it was Steve Stevens playing on it. And for me, I'll talk about what I did and what I picked it for me, and then you guys can talk about it for you. For me, I picked this as my my fourth favorite track on this album. This is one of my tops. I liked this song the very first time I heard it. This is the kind of songs that I think people don't want to hear Peter sing, and this is the kind of songs that I like to hear Peter sing. I like hearing Peter singing a good love song. With maybe when he's in Kiss, not so much, but this is not Peter in Kiss. You can't hold him to Kiss standards or to Kiss doing things the way Kiss does. But I liked First Day in the Rain. I liked it even before I knew that. I liked it even before I knew that Steve Stevens was playing the solo on it. So it's just it's a rainy day song. And it's been raining like hell here the last 3 or 4 days with the tropical depression coming in on the East Coast. So it's been raining. We've gotten so much rain here in the last 3 or 4 days, and it's supposed to keep on raining for another 3 or 4 days. So I really like this. It was 4 for me. What about you, Walter?
It was actually number 10 for me. And interestingly enough, I didn't look at any of the panel's picks this time. And I think for me, because when I rate albums, it constantly changes. And my last basic, the word I'm looking for, ratings, are the last time, like I'll listen to it and whatever songs I rock out to the most, I'll put down as, I'll rate the highest, and then I'll kind of do a number system. And not that this is a bad song, it's definitely a good song. It sounds a lot like the songs on One for All, which to me is not a horrible album by any means. It's just, there were some key issues with being on key and off key. That's it. But I just rated it as number 10, but I by no means think it's a bad song. I just thought that the other songs were a little stronger.
All right, John. What about you?
I put it at number 4 for me. I like it. It's a bluesy. It's a nice bluesy song. It almost has sort of a "I Still Love You" aspect to it. Referring to the Creature of the Night, Kiss. It's kind of a bluesy, nice love song, and I believe Steve Stevens actually wrote the song either musically or lyrically. I'm not sure if it's both or one or the other, but it says here in the credits Steve Stevens, so I'm assuming he wrote it. And that solo, that guitar solo that he does is just, man, it's a great, great solo. I love this song, so it fits in at number 4 for me.
Okay. All right. So that brings us up to number 9. What's predictions for number 9?
My prediction was "Move On Over."
And I'm not. I didn't talk about this with Walt, but I copied him again, and that's what I said. Move on over is my
All right.
prediction.
All right. Y'all been copying each other's papers.
Uh-uh.
Number 9 for me, I predicted the panel was going to choose "First Day in the Rain," so I was close. I was one off.
Yeah.
What the panel chose with the 134 points. At number 9, the panel chose "Jealous Guy" for number 9. 6 panelists, though: Toy Bonnie Guy, Juan Manuel Lopez, Stephen Jones, Tom Dust, David King, and one other host picked "Jealous Guy" as their favorite song. If somebody didn't pick it as their favorite song, they were trashing it. It was their 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th. It was, least favorite a lot, or in the lower 5. Me personally, I picked "Jealous Guy" as my favorite song on this album. This is not a Peter song. It's a John Lennon song. But damn, if he didn't pull Lennon off pretty good, because I listened to this song and then I did my research, found out it was a Lennon song, went and listened to the Lennon, which kind of an unknown track by Lennon, and wow, I mean, Peter did a really good job on this song, I thought, and something about it just kind of grabbed me. That part where he says, "I didn't mean to hurt you." Peter just has a soul about his voice. So when Peter's singing a sad song, or when he's singing kind of a soulful song, his voice just comes out, and it really just sounds good. And I really liked the production of this song, as well as the production of some of the production on this album is very dated, but this one I actually thought it didn't sound dated to me. It sounded like a classic. "Jealous Guy" was my favorite song on the album. So what about you guys? What about you, Walter?
I put "Jealous Guy" as number 8. Um, I think he did a terrific job doing this song, like you said. Just other songs that I liked better, but no diss on this song whatsoever. He did a great rendition.
Okay, what about you, John?
Yeah, I put it right kind of in the middle, number 6 for me. Great vocals. I kind of don't like the opening part of the piano. It's kind of like a stutter piano. But I think he did a good job. I love the song from John Lennon. I knew that song before I heard it from Peter Criss. I heard the original first. So, but I think Peter did a pretty darn good job on it. And yeah, I put it at number 6.
All right. All right. So, a lot of people didn't like that "Jealous Guy" was down that low. I'm seeing some boos and some saying that it's sad and surprising from Rick R. So let's see. So that brings us up to number 8. What's predictions for 8?
My prediction for number 8 was "Let Me Rock You," the title track.
Okay.
And my prediction for number 8 is Destiny.
Okay. My prediction for number 8 was Some Kind of Hurricane. With 137 points, 3 points above Jealous Guy at number 9. 137 points. The panel chose for number 8, You Just Move On Over. New Kids Back in Town. I tell you, Move On Over is... this was a tough one for me. Nobody picked this as their favorite song. 0 panelists. It was 6 for me. It's the first track that I give my middle rating to. It's not the bottom. It's the middle. It's right outside the top 5. But this has just so many... I mean, I could see this song being in so many 80s movies. It has that sound, that organ in it, and then some part where he says he feels like Gary Cooper. I mean, you know, it's like that just kind of just shows you Peter's age, because he's referencing people that I know that Emily Graziano knows who Gary Cooper is, and I know a lot of us old people know who Gary Cooper is, but not the younger people, other than Emily, might not know who Gary Cooper is. So, but it's not a horrible song. But he, you know, Pete he likes putting keyboards and stuff, and he likes putting horns and stuff. And this was the early 80s. So I can only imagine how this album sounded to people getting it for the first time in 98, you know, and it having that early 80s sound, you know, and, the way all the 80s songs that had keyboards and synthesizers and stuff in it and saxophones, it's like every damn 80s song had a saxophone in it, or horns or something. So, but you know, it's not the most horrible song on the album in my opinion. So I actually put this one in for me at number 6. So what about you guys? What about you, Walt?
I was right there with you, Brent. I put "Move On Over" at number 6. It was right there at the middle for me. And like you said, it's such a Peter song with the piano and I love that Gary Cooper line. You know, it reminds me of that. There's a lot of pictures of Peter. I don't know if you've ever seen them, where he's kind of sitting with his hat and he looks kind of gangstery, and and it just always reminds me. I think of that picture, and just gives you that kind of that Peter gangster.
Yeah, like Peter could have been a good fella, you know.
Yeah. He's a great actor. If you ever saw him in Oz, he was terrific.
Yeah, he was really good in Oz. I think everybody in Kiss acts pretty well except for Paul.
Yeah.
Which is surprising. But yeah, I think
Right.
Gene and Ace and Peter, the stuff I've seen them in, I've liked all the stuff they've done. So, what about you, John?
Well, I put that at, for me, number 7. I don't dislike it. It falls sort of towards the lower middle. I like this song. I think what he could have done, in my opinion, to make it better is just slow it down a little bit. It was a little bit too up-tempo. But I like it. Yeah, the Gary Cooper reference, that's cool. It's the I think it's one of 2 of the tracks that Peter co-wrote, because I think he only co-wrote 2, and this is the second one that he co-wrote.
Yeah, this and Bad Boys.
I like it. Yeah, I put it at number 7. I think it was really good. I think just slow it down a little bit. That's my only complaint.
Okay, so that brings us to number 7. What's predictions for 7?
I predict Pano is going to choose Destiny.
Okay.
So I think
And number 7 for me, I picked Jealous Guy.
Okay. Number 7, I predicted Bad Boys is what they were going to... Bad Boys is what the panel's going to choose, is what I thought. What the panel chose at number 7 with 139 points, 2 points above moving on over, or move on over. They chose Destiny.
I got it.
Two panelists, Emily Graziano and Matt Ucci, picked Destiny as their number one song. And I love you, Emily, and I love you, Matt, but Destiny is a 9 for me. And it is that song that when I heard him start singing, and he just sounded so off key and so flat. And then you get to the chorus and the Destiny in the night. It's just, it earwormed me and it made my head hurt. And I had to actually go listen to another album for a little bit and come back to this one. I swear to God, I'm not kidding. It hurt me that bad. But it did grow on me because at least it's initially it was going to be, I heard it and I'm like, oh man, this is going to be number 10. This is going to be number 10. But it ended up being number 9. But yeah, this is like, this belongs in a montage in Flashdance or some, or something. It was, it had 80s movie, romantic comedy, drama all over it. But, Karate Kid. Yeah, Ralph, but, yeah, it's 9 for me. And let's, what about you, Walt?
Actually, it was 9 for me as well. I just liked other songs better. Not much to say about that song. I do like how I kind of like the end, where it's like feels so right. Yeah. That goes into that crazy keyboard solo.
Yeah. I like when it ended too. Yeah. My favorite part of this song is the ending. I've said that before. Right. What about you, John?
Yeah, it went number 10 for me. It's hard to listen to. The verses are okay, but the chorus just kills me. It's like, oh my God. Mm-hmm. No, thank you. Move on over. Yeah, number 10 for me. Didn't like it.
Okay. That brings us up to number 6. What's predictions?
My prediction for number 6 was Bad Boys.
Okay.
Number 6 for me is Let Me Rock You.
Okay. Number 6 for me was Feel Like Heaven. And with with 152 points, what the panel chose for number 6, they chose Let Me Rock You. No panelists picked Let Me Rock You as their favorite song. I picked Let Me Rock You. Are you ready for this? I picked Let Me Rock You as my number 3, my third favorite song on this album. This song reminds me of the song I Love Beach Music. It reminds me of a beach music song, and I swear I'm going to be going on a cruise soon in October, and I may have it. Don't get canceled because of the coronavirus. I can't say it. I don't want to say it because I don't want it. Yeah. But if the next sunny day, that it's sunny outside, I'm going to be out by my pool. I'm going to be drinking a beer, and I'm going to blast Let Me Rock You loud enough for my neighbors to hear it, because it just has that summery, fun feel. And I heard somebody say, names his album Let Me Rock You after a song that doesn't. And this song does rock. It just rocks in a different kind of way. It's old school. You have to remember, this is Peter. He's old as dirt. So, this is a good song. I like Let Me Rock You. It really surprised me how good Let Me Rock You was. And just that whole feel, that no matter where you are, that it just has a show tunes, beach feel to it. and I really liked you. I mean, I really liked "Let Me Rock You." It's my third favorite song on the album, and I'm not ashamed of it. So, what about you guys?
I put "Let Me Rock You" as number 4. I love it.
Okay, what about you, John?
I picked "Let Me Rock You" number 2. It's my number 2. I love this track, and I'm not usually a fan of 50s doo-wop. I like 50s music, but doo-wop not so much. But you know what? I like this song. I like the chorus. The chorus is, it just makes you feel good. When you listen to the chorus, it just makes you, if you're in a bad mood, this is a song to throw on. It's just a total feel good song. And Peter sings his ass off. He gets up in the higher registers with this one. He shows off that he can sing. And we all know he can sing. I think he can sing better than Paul, but that's just my opinion. But I love "Let Me Rock You," so it's number 2.
I love the whole doo-wop background singers. You know, a lot of times Kiss, they really, when they bring in outside background singers and they're not singing their own backgrounds, they just really sound corny. And a lot of people probably think these background singers sound corny, but that whole doo-wop, you know, and I like doo-wop music, so that's probably why I like this song so much. But I agree with you. I think Peter did really great. All right, so that brings us up into the top 5. So I'm going to go ahead and recap the bottom 5. If you've just now joining us, if you haven't been here, number 10 was "First Day in the Rain." Number 9 was "Jealous Guy." Number 8 was "Move On Over." Number 7 was "Destiny." And number 6 that we just talked about was "Let Me Rock You." So that brings us to number 5. What's predictions for number 5?
I predicted "Let It Go" was going to be number 5.
My number 5 prediction is hold on a second. "Bad Boys."
Okay. I predicted the panel would choose "Tears" for number 5. With 157 points, 5 more points higher than "Let Me Rock You," at number 5, the panel chose "Bad Boys." Man, John, you're killing it, man. You are killing it. 2 panelists, Carolina Hard Rock Metalhead and Super Kiss 1200, picked "Bad Boys" as their favorite song. "Bad Boys" for me is it's my least favorite song on the album. I can't get into this song. I just can't, and I'm not going to badmouth it too bad because enough people liked it to push it to number 5. But it really surprised me seeing this song that high. I just cannot get into it. I think I don't know. I just can't get into it. So I'll let you guys talk about it. It's 10 for me. What about you, Walter?
I put it as number 7. And it's weird because this album to me it's like a 2-parter album. If I was gonna rate it as like a Peter album, I probably would have put this song a lot higher. I would have put it like "Bad Boys," "Move On Over," with what's the other one? "Bad Boys," "Move On Over," and "Let Me Rock You." You know, like that side of Peter. And then there's the "Some Kind of Hurricanes" and the "Feel Like Heavens" and the more electric songs on the record. So I really embrace that sort of side of Peter. And I think it's like an autobiographical sort of song. I kind of picture, because he grew up in gangs and stuff. And I always kind of picture him and his mom, at home, and his mom telling him, like, "Don't go out and get, where the bad boys go unless you can fight." "I could fight, Mom." And maybe he went to go chase Gene around the block or something.
I don't know. So what about you, John?
"Bad Boys," it fell at number 8 for me. I still like it though, and like Walt was saying, Actually, I think I read somewhere that the title came from what Peter's mom used to tell him when he was a kid. Don't go where the bad boys go. I heard that somewhere. But it's kind of, I don't really like the melody. I don't know. It falls to number 8. But I won't skip it. I'll listen to it when I'm listening to the album. But it falls at number 8 for me.
Okay. All right. So that brings us up to number 4. What's prediction for number 4?
My prediction for number 4 was Some Kind of Hurricane.
And my prediction for number 4 is Feel Like Heaven.
Okay. My prediction for the panel for number 4 was Let Me Rock You. Thought y'all guys were going to like it better, but I'll take 6 on that one. At number 4 with 159 points, 2 points above number 5, Bad Boys. For number 4, the panel chose Feel Like Heaven. And John, I cry foul, sir. 2 panelists, Joel Pegg and Sam Loomis, picked Feel Like Heaven as their favorite song. I picked it as 7 for me. This song almost loses me at the very beginning. That whole that riff at the very beginning, it just almost loses me. But it's got more good than it does bad for me. But it's still in what I consider bottom. I have 3 bottom songs. And we've already talked about all 3 of them. My 3 bottom songs is Feel Like Heaven, Destiny, and Bad Boys. Those are the songs I really couldn't care if they were on this album. This album could only have 7 songs on it, and I'd be okay. But yeah, Feel Like Heaven, to me, it drops to number 7 for me. If you like it, more power to you. It's great. So what about you guys?
I put Feel Like Heaven as number 3.
It's one of those rockers for you, so I figured you probably would. It's kind of a rocker.
Yeah, even though I'm not like a rocker guy, I don't care if Peter rocks. And honestly, it's funny because the way I like Peter's records kind of go in the order they came out. But I don't know. I think I picked it as number 3 because I think it was cool that they were collaborating. Gene did backup vocals on the track. It's something that you would see Ace do now. And when I heard the Kiss version opposed to this version being a little bit better, I don't know. I picked this number 3 just for me. It just kind of hit me in the ribs. So
Okay.
I liked it.
All right. What about you, John?
Feel Like Heaven, it came at number 9 for me. I like the chorus, and I can hear Gene's background vocals in it. I was listening to it today just to see if I would like it better. I just don't like the spoken words on the verses. I don't like that. It's almost like I don't like on Lick It Up. All Hell's Breaking Loose with that rap that Paul does. I don't like spoken words. I mean, it just doesn't fit in with me. But it's cool that Gene, threw Peter some time, and I don't think Paul would have done that back then. Paul would never have gave him a song. So it's kind of cool that Gene contributed to the album, but it fell at number 9 for me.
Okay. So that brings us up to the top 3. So what is the prediction for panel prediction for number 3?
I chose thought the panel was going to choose Jealous Guy.
Okay.
I predicted that number 3 for the panel would be Tears.
Okay. I predicted the panel was going to choose Jealous Guy. And what the panel chose for number 3 with 200. I keep saying 200. It's not 200. With 178 points. 178 points for number 3. The panel chose Some Kinda Hurricane. 3 panelists: Georgie Halick, Michael Avant, and one of our hosts picked Some Kind of Hurricane as their number 1 song. Some Kind of Hurricane fell in as number 7 for me. It's the bottom of my mid songs. It's starting to at this point in time. Once you got down from 6 to 7 for me, it just started becoming it's okay. It's an okay song for me. It was okay, but I like the riff in it. I like the chorus in it. I can remember the riff in my head. I can remember the chorus in my head. It's got some really cool stuff and some really cool aspects about it, but it just fell to 7 for me. So I'll let Walter talk about him.
Well, I picked Some Kind of Hurricane as number 1, and the reason I picked the song as number 1 is, if you go back to Peter's influence, Gene Krupa, and the song Sing Sing, and there's that kind of that cat style drumming, that old. And you see, I posted on my Twitter, there's an old Twilight Zone you guys might remember. It's called Perchance to Dream, where a guy has nightmares about a woman in a carnival, and she's like Catwoman, and she does these dances, and he's afraid to go to sleep because she'll kill him in the amusement park. She's got him going on all these roller coasters and everything. And then at the end, he jumps out of the window and it's all a dream, and he was talking to a psychiatrist. And so being with that cool, I sort of tie all that together in a weird way. Like this song, it's like that guy singing about that girl. And it reminds me of that jazzy sort of, even though you don't hear the drumming in the song, you kind of do, where it's like, that little thing I'm talking about.
Yeah, I was going to mention that this is actually, I think this is one of his better drumming songs on the album.
Yeah.
His drumming is probably it's one of the better songs that showcases his drumming. And that's one thing I've never really understood about Peter, is this guy threatened to leave Kiss every time he could get a chance to. Every time they made an album, when they first started, he wanted a 10-minute long drum solo on the first album. He wanted a 10-minute long drum solo on Higher Than Hell. And then he puts out solo albums where the drums are almost an afterthought. They sit in the back. They're not mixed well. Half the time they don't sound really good, at least up to what I've heard. Now, I've not heard any albums past this, so I'm just going on the first 3 albums of his in his collection that I've heard. And I'm sitting here going, really? You'd have never knew or never would have thought that this guy was a drummer and was the drummer. I mean, me, if I could play, I can play drums and I can sing, but if I was in my own band and I was putting out my own album and I was the singer and the drummer, you'd freaking know I was the drummer. My drums would sound good. They would, because I'm egotistical. My drums would sound good. I'd be playing my drums would be an instrument. It wouldn't just be something in the back holding down the beat. So that just kind of frustrates me about Peter whenever he comes to, it's like, why not have songs that showcase you playing drums more, showcasing your talent more? Because he's not the most technical drummer, but he still could play. So
and that's why I want him to wish he would always done an instrumental album. For his love for jazz and everything, and just mix that together and do something instrumental would be awesome. And just one more thing I wanted to throw in about the song Some Kind of Hurricane is it gets his voice, and at the end, and how he gets so into it is one thing I've always loved with Peter and songs where he does that. A lot of soul in his voice.
Okay, what about you, John?
Some Kind of Hurricane, right in the middle, number 5. I love that song. It could have easily been further up, but I had to put things in the way I wanted to have them in order. I love that song. Another Russ Ballard written song. He sings great, and he plays great. Great drumming in that song. And to get back to what you were talking about, Brant, I think, in my opinion, from reading, I read Peter's book, and from reading a lot of things on the internet, I think that after 78, after he had that horrible accident, he broke his hand, I believe, or fingers. He broke his fingers. I think he never really recovered from that. I think it definitely affected the way he played drums. And after that, I don't think he could play as well as he did before 78. Mm-hmm. And that's probably why he had a lot of session musicians come in for certain songs to play the drums, because he even did that back in the 78 solo album. He only played half of the songs.
Oh, yeah, he played very little. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's why he did that, in my opinion. Yeah, it comes right in the middle for me, number 5.
All right, so if you've been playing along, you know that we are down to just 2 songs left. And so we are up to number 2. So what's the predictions for number 2?
Excuse me. I thought the panel was gonna choose Tears.
Okay.
And I predicted for number 2 some kind of hurricane.
Okay. And I predicted, I don't know what crack I was on, but I predicted Move On Over for the number 2 spot. I look at that now and I'm like, what was I thinking? So what the panel chose with 209 points, finally getting into the 200s. It took us to the top 2 songs to break the 200s. But at 209 for number 2, the panel chose Tears. 7 panelists: Jay Reed, Marty White, Darren Helliwell, Tony Rod, Cameron Hope, AJ Zetro, 1975, and our final host picked this song as their number 1 song. I picked Tears as number 5 for me. I really like Tears. It is very dated. It has that very dated song, that very dated sound to it. And the first time I heard it, I was kind of, the very first time I heard it, and I was like, oh man, listen to these keyboards. And then Peter comes in with a very weakly delivered, "You left me here alone." And I was just like, oh no, this is not going to be good. This is not going to be good. But it shocked me how good this song as a whole actually turns out to be. The chorus is banging. I love the chorus. After the second time I was listening to this, I was singing along to it. I was going down the road. I see those tears. I was in an 80s movie, but playing keyboards on the dashboard over drums, because the keyboards are so predominant, because it is Peter and it is Vinnie Poncha. But I like Tears. It's number 5 for me, but it's still a good song. So what about you, Walter?
I had it actually at number 5 as well. I remember I hadn't put this album on for so long, and then when Vinny did his first appearance again, he did a little rendition of it, and I was like, I know that from somewhere, and I went back and dug out this album. I was like, oh, and then I was like, I had totally forgotten that Vinny even had anything to do with that song. So that was cool. And I put it at number 5 too.
Okay. What about you, John?
Yeah, it was my number one pick. I love the song. It just has a great chorus, a great melody. I love everything about it.
Yeah, you can tell it's a Vinny. Even though it's an early Vinny song, you can tell it's a Vinny. It has that sound. It has a hook to it, definitely.
Yeah. I actually like Vinnie Vincent. If you look it up on YouTube, Vinnie Vincent has it's called a demo, but it sounds pretty much like a studio version to me. I think he did it back in 1984 3 or 4, and I like Vinny's vocals. Vinny was a really good singer. I don't understand why he never sang in his own group. I really don't understand it. And what a great writer. He wrote so many great songs for Kiss. He's kind of went off the deep end, you know, after the 90s happened, and I don't know what happened to the guy, but he was a great writer in his time, and I love this song. Lyrics are great, and the music is great. So yeah, my number one.
Okay. So it brings us to number one. For the panel, if you've been playing along, you know what it is, but we're going to do our predictions and then we'll count the votes on it. So what's predictions for number one?
Well, I predicted the panels and sheets feel like heaven.
Okay.
And I believe if I've been playing around or playing along right, that it's Let It Go.
All right.
That's my prediction.
I predicted it was going to be Let It Go also. So with 220 points, the panel chose for number one, Let It Go. 7 panelists: Jeremy Cremona, Sublime 130, Rick R., Where's Drago, Bill Sharp, Paul Bertolino, Richard Buffett, picked Let It Go as their favorite song. Let It Go is number 2 for me. I love Let It Go. I liked it the very first time I heard it. When the album started, I was like, wow, this is better than Out of Control. This song alone is better than almost any song on Out of Control. It came out just charging. The chorus is great. The music is great. The vocals are great. Everything about this song fires on all cylinders. And it sets a precedent for this album that I wish the album would have carried through, but it didn't. The album was very convoluted and went all over the place. But that's Peter. That's what Peter's going to do. And I'm okay with that. Because if every song would have been like this, we would not have had Let Me Rock You. You know, we wouldn't have had First Day in the Rain. We wouldn't have had songs like Tears. So it's good that it didn't set the precedent that I was, the very first time I listened to it, thought, oh man. But I did feel like that this is the strongest, even though I said that I like Jealous Guy the best. I feel like as far as a non-cover song, that Let It Go is the best. And if somebody was like, "Hey, play me a song off that album," I would probably play Let It Go for them. If they'd never heard it, I'd be like, "Hey, check this song out. It's pretty good." You know, if they liked it, I'd be like, "Okay," and then I'd have maybe swung them around to Jealous Guy or Let Me Rock You, just to be like, "Well, now look what he does now." You know, it's like swerve, swerve. It's like so. But it's cool. I mean, I like when albums take you on journeys, and as long as it's not too extreme and they don't get you too deep in the gutter. But yeah, so it's number 2 for me. Good song. I love it. What about you, Walt?
Yeah, me too. Number 2. Like I was saying, I love that the way the song builds up, and at the end how he just gets so into it. You know. Yeah, just there's nothing else I can say. It's just a great song.
Yeah. All right. What about you, John?
Yeah, Let It Go, number 3 for me. It could have been easily number 1, but I just had to rank them the way I wanted to. But Let It Go, perfect way to open this album. I couldn't have thought of another song in the set list that could open the album better than this. And so much better than opening an album like Out of Control did with By Myself.
Oh, yeah. What a horrible
I still
way.
don't know what he was thinking.
What a horrible
way. I still don't know what he was thinking doing that. But I
great
love the
song, but a horrible way to open an album.
Yeah. You don't open an album with a ballad. No.
And honestly, I think... Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, it's interesting because I know he wanted Poncia on Out of Control, but he was doing Unmasked. and then he got him to do this album because basically he wanted him for Out of Control and he wasn't available, so then he got him for this one. It would have been interesting to see what Out of Control would have been if it did have any content.
Yeah, I think he was very comfortable with Vinny. Yeah, I think him and Vinny worked well together, and he was very comfortable with him. I just kind of wonder. I mean, it probably wouldn't have made much of a difference, but to me, it makes more sense that instead of this album being titled "Let Me Rock You," I think this album should have been titled "Let It Go." Just me, because like I said, somebody said, one of the panelists said, to name an album "Let Me Rock You," when you have a song, if you're a guy who used to be in Kiss, that's a drummer, and you have the title of your album called "Let Me Rock You," it sets a lot of precedences in people's minds. And when they hear "Let It Go," you're like, oh yeah, man, this album does kind of rock. It's not Kiss, but it rocks. But then when they finally get around to "Let Me Rock You," they're like, what? Let me go play volleyball on the beach with you, or let me go shag out on the boardwalk with you. It's not that "Let Me Rock You" is not a rock song. It's a beach song in my opinion, like I said. But so if he would have said, if he would have named the album "Let It Go," and I know what Peter was doing, he was still playing on the whole thing that he wasn't part of Kiss anymore, Out of Control being the name of that album. So he could have played a little further and said "Let It Go," and people been like, oh, he's just saying, yeah, let it go. I'm not in Kiss anymore. Let it go. Let it go,
Yeah.
So, in some countries, it's interesting how they market it. This is the Mexican version. And in Mexico, it says ex-drummer of Kiss.
Yeah.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. So let's recap for anybody who may have came in late. Number 10, First Day in the Rain. Number 9, Jealous Guy. Number 8, Move On Over. Number 7, Destiny. Number 6, Let Me Rock You. Number 5, Bad Boys. Bad Boys, Bad Boys. Every time I hear that, man. Number 4, Feel Like Heaven. And that sounds weird too. You all want to say "Feels Like Heaven." Feel Like Heaven.
Yeah.
Some Kind of Hurricane, Tears, and Let It Go. That is our panel for Peter Criss's "Let Me Rock You." The next panel we will be doing is for Mr. Ace Frehley.
Frehley's Comet.
Frehley's Comet. So this is your homework. If you've not heard this album, get in on it. And this is a sealed album. And this album has been sealed since 1987. It's never been opened. And I'm going to open it in the video and look inside of it. And hope against hope that I have the blue vinyl, which I'm pretty sure I don't because it's not hyped. But it would be so sweet if it was blue vinyl. But I doubt it's not.
You have more self-control than I do, Brent, to have that sealed for that long. I could never do that, dude.
So I've not had it all this time. I bought this last year, and I knew that I was eventually going to get around to reviewing it.
Okay.
So I just waited. Just waited, but still, I paid $20 for it sealed. So it's got Into the Night. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this. So this is your homework. You're going to have until Monday. You're going to have until Monday of this coming week. Monday at midnight, and be looking on my social media for the lists. And let me see if I can pull up my social media here on this thing. Let me see if I've been playing around with this to see if I can do this. Let's see, right. Let's see. I don't know if it's going to come through. It's probably not going to come through. Let's see if I can move it. There it is. So there's social media. My website, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Go to either of those. And on YouTube, look for the post and get your pick in for the tracks. All the tracks from favorite to least favorite for Fraley's Comet. Okay? All right, so that's all I've got, guys. Y'all got any closing thoughts on the album you want to say before we close?
I just wish he would have kept on going, and there was more albums in the 80s from Peter. There's a lot more music in the 80s from Peter, but it was just never laid down on record. And one cool thing I just wanted to show real quick, this is really rare. They did, I think, one show. This was an invitation, 1984, for the Peter Criss Alliance.
Yeah.
And this is the ticket.
Oh, cool.
Oh, wow.
In this polygram envelope. And they just did doo-wop songs, but they recorded some cool songs you can find on YouTube. And looking forward to Ace.
Yeah.
What about you, John? And I see some questions coming in. I am going to answer these questions that's coming in the very last minute.
Same thing for me. I wish Peter would have stuck it out and, started, regrouped and came out with something different. I think he knew what he needed to do, because what he needed to do was what he did on Cat Number 1, which I don't know if you're going to cover that one, Brant, but I think he did a good job on Cat Number 1. He gave the fans what they were wanting, which was some hard rock. And he had some ballads on Cat Number 1 too, but he had some hard rock, which he didn't give the fans at all on his solo albums. They were looking for Black Diamonds, they were looking for Baby Drivers, they were looking for Getaways, and it wasn't until Cat Number 1 where he actually produced some of that stuff. So yeah, I love Peter Criss. I love his voice, and I think he was probably the most talented vocally of Kiss. So yeah, that's where I stand on it.
Awesome. My closing thoughts on the album is I enjoyed it. I plan on going back and listening to it a little more often. I'll probably pop it in every once in a while, and or stream it every once in a while. I don't own it. So yeah, I mean it wasn't a total disappointment. I enjoyed 5 of the songs off the album really well, and I mean, hey, that's half. People asking questions. We're going in order by year, and I know this one came out originally it actually was released in 98, but it actually was originally released in 82. So Aces will be the next album in 87, and I do plan on doing all of Aces' albums. I plan on doing all of Peter's albums, and Paul's one solo album, and Gene's one solo album, post-Kiss, Asshole, and Live to Win. Plan on doing those. I'll be doing Aces albums. We're starting with Fraley's Comet. But yeah, so we're going to be going back and forth between some Peter and Ace albums here for a little bit, but I am going to do all of them. So we'll do all of them. All right. So that's all I've got, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. We didn't get to look at the chat too much. I will go back and watch this because I do love whenever I rewatch the video after it's posted, after YouTube renders it and it posts, you can actually see the chat. If you watch it in a window, you can see the chat, and it's really cool to see that. So I appreciate each and every one of you watching, and I hope that you enjoyed, and I hope you all again are staying safe physically and mentally. Turn off the TV, turn on the music, turn off the news. It's all depressing, and half of it is lies. More than half of it is lies. So
that's for sure.
So just don't let them control you, and don't get too emotional about it. Keep your head in a safe place. Keep your body in a safe place. Have fun listening to music. All right. So you got your homework. We are doing Fraley's Comet next. And that will be next Wednesday. The Wednesday after will be White Lion Pride for 80s, album. So we're going to step outside of Kiss for a week, and it'll be White Lion Pride. And just look on my social media for those posts. They'll be upcoming. and you can get in on those panels if you like. How do you get in on a panel? People ask me all the time, how do I get in on a panel? You go to these posts that saying, hey, put in your list, and you put in your list. You get it in time, you get counted on the panel. All right. So, guys, I appreciate you guys hanging out tonight, and we made it. We made it through it. And John, you made it all the way through. And your quality actually improved vocal-wise as you went on. So I think we did good.
I think some of my daughters turned off their devices, and that helps.
Them damn kids and their electronical devices.
Uh-huh.
All right, guys, that's it for us here. So we'll catch you all later. Next time, we'll see you. Thank you. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for having us on.
Thanks for having us. Yeah.